Hello, it's Dr. Charlie Cartwright here with another edition of Dash Cam Wisdom. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about positivity and negativity, mainly the mindset that we have, either a positive mindset or a negative mindset, and how that affects you. And it's clear that there's so much research out there that having a positive mindset is so much more beneficial to us for our physical health, for our mental health, for our relationships, career, you name it. Having a positive mental attitude is always the best path. Where having a negative mental attitude, ton of research out there to how it's really bad for our physical health. It'll reduce our immune system. And then, of course, it creates problems for us in our personal and our professional lives. So how do we switch over if we find ourselves gravitating to negative thoughts or ideas? How do we get into a positive mindset? How do we become more positive? Or if we're already positive, how do we stay positive? So here's the thing I was thinking about. It's kind of like a plant. And I have a love for house plants. It's something else that my grandmother passed on to me. She gave me my first house plant when I was probably about 10 years old. And I've just loved them ever since. I love taking care of them and nurturing them and seeing them grow and expand. And she always had a house just full of different plants that she had. And it was neat to be around. But what you learn when you care for plants, say you get busy and you don't really pay any attention to the plant and you forget to water it and feed it and all those things, one day you'll pass that plant and it'll be dead, right? Because you didn't take care of it and you're like, oh man, I feel so bad. I got busy and I didn't give that plant any time and attention and it just died. It needs care to grow and thrive. And our thought world is a lot like the plant world in that whatever thoughts, whatever mindset we want to have, it needs care and attention to grow and thrive. So if we're talking about getting rid of negativity, then to not give that attention, to not feed that, to not nurture that in any way, it's gonna die because it needs care, it needs nurturing. But we tend to feed that negativity during the day. Well, how do we do that? Well, a lot on social media. I get on Facebook sometimes and I'm shocked at how much negative banter there is. Participating in it just isn't a good thing. Not that we can't have a good conversation. That's one thing. Being negative is completely different. And then flipping on the news is really, I know we need to stay informed, but it's not a good idea to make that a part of your daily routine because they're focusing on the negative. They're selling fear and people are buying tickets. And it's really unfortunate that our society has evolved that way to where the negative leads. And it might be a small piece of the actual puzzle, but that's what is going to be focused on the news, and the positivity just doesn't get much press. So from our standpoint as a positive person or wanting to be more positive, we've got to feed into the positivity. So we're getting bombarded on a daily basis by so much negativity that we have to counter that. You've got to counter it with positivity, whether that's reading, the people that you spend time with, the things you harbor and think about in your mind, and listening to audiobooks. I listen to a lot of audiobooks when I drive or getting ready in the morning, or sometimes I'm taking a break. I'm doing something around my office maybe or around the house and have that playing. That's just feeding the positive mindset. But it's one of these things that it doesn't last. It has to be fed every day. And human nature will tend to slide back into more of a negative mindset if we're not actively pushing forward with the positivity. So it's something to be active about achieving, and it's definitely achievable. It takes work, but after a while, the work gets easier and easier and easier, and your mindset tends to gravitate towards positivity once you get in that track. But the biggest thing about negativity is just not feeding into it, not feeding it. Just let it dwindle and die. And it may not totally die, but it's going to be such a small factor in your life that it'll never take over the garden. So that's my message for the day. I hope you found it helpful, and thanks for listening. Have an awesome day. Talk to you soon.